Meanwhile, the rapidly escalating situation in Ukraine has sent a lot of worry across the world. Governments have been advising their citizens in Ukraine to remain calm. The latest advisory has been issued by the Indian Foreign Ministry. All nationals have been asked not to move to any of the border posts without prior coordination with the Indian embassy officials. And earlier we also spoke with some of the Indian students who are presently stranded in Kiev as the fighting has broken out, and they told us firsthand that government officials have now asked them to move to the western part of the country, which is touted to be a lot more safer than the eastern parts. The latest statement also says that the situation at many checkpoints is very sensitive. The Indian government is closely working with its neighbouring nations of Poland, Slovakia and Romania. But according to the officials, it's becoming increasingly difficult to help nationals cross over to the other nations. Everyone has been advised to stay calm and to use their limited supplies of food, water and medicines very wisely, because these could of course become scarce in the coming days. Crucially, India has abstained from voting at the UNSC. The country has once again maintained what it describes as its balanced position on the matter, which has divided the world into two political camps, the United States and Russia. The United Nations Security Council resolution sought to deplore in the strongest possible terms Russia's military invasion into Ukraine. And by abstaining to vote either way, India has of course retained the option, it appears, of reaching out to both sides in an effort to bridge the gap if it wants and to find a middle path to foster diplomacy in this conflict. What is interesting is that India has said that dialogue is the only answer to settle the differences and disputes between Russia and Ukraine. Now, India's representative at the United Nations, T.S. Tirumurti, has said that India is deeply disturbed by the recent turn of events in Ukraine and reiterated the government's call for an immediate cessation of hostilities in the region. However, the White House's press secretary, Jen Psaki, meanwhile has said that Washington will of course continue to engage with India over the Russian invasion into Ukraine and will try to bring out some solution to this deal with this military escalation in Eastern Europe.
I would say some were, but I wouldn't say the majority were. And we continue to engage with the Indians, with other ASEAN partners on both what we're seeing on the ground, our continued condemnation of the actions of President Putin in Ukraine, and we will continue to push others to follow suit.
Meanwhile, ahead of the crucial vote, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke to India's External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar. During the telephonic conversation, Antony Blinken stressed on the importance of strong collective response against Russia amidst the ongoing conflict. The call between the two leaders, in fact, took place soon after the White House's statement said that Biden administration will hold consultations with India to deal with the crisis in Ukraine. Now remember, India has a time-tested relationship with Russia, with Moscow having been one of India's closest allies in the defense sector for several decades, right after India's independence. But also what is interesting is that in the recent couple of decades, India's strategic partnership with the United States has also grown very significant. In the last couple of decades, with Washington has shown a lot of interest in the developments in the Indo-Pacific and also in the Quad group, and therefore it is going to be a very fine balancing act that India will have to play as it continues to maintain its close relationship with the Russians, and also its growing relationship now with the Americans. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.